Looks like we've come to the end of the road. There's no point in running away now. I'd rather sleep until the storm is gone. She'd rather be shooting at me now. I know it will end up in anger. I don't think we grew up, we just became older. She's aiming her words, ready to fire. I don't think that bullets will bring back desire. Looks like a blink of an eye's not enough. She'd rather be staying for days now. I'd rather fix it than mess up again. She'd rather be burning it all now. I know it will end up in anger. I don't think we grew up, we just became older. She's aiming her words, ready to fire. I don't think that bullets will bring back desire.
I need a scarecrow after what you did, 'cause all of the birds know that I'm almost dead. I'm barely breathing, I'm barely awake. You left me in pieces, there's no more to break. Don't wake me up, not in this century. Don't wake me up, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. You're just a memory on my lips, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. I need an angel after what you did, 'cause you were the devil, you messed with my head. You lied to my mother, you lied to my friends. You said that you'd be there, but this never ends. Don't wake me up, not in this century. Don't wake me up, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. my head. You're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. 'Cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. You're just a memory on my lips. You're just a ghost inside my head. Oh, you're just a ghost inside my head.
Abrázame toda la noche, no nos queda mucho tiempo más. No quiero perder lo que queda. Seguimos siempre la pasión y confiamos solo en el amor. Yeah. No quiero perder lo que queda. Y más allá. A través de la gran oscuridad hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá. A través de la gran oscuridad. Y más allá. Más allá, encontrando vida en el camino, melodías que no hemos tocado. Y yo no quiero descansar. Resuena por la pared, creando una canción. Quiero perder el ritmo. Y más allá. A través de la gran oscuridad hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá. A través de la gran oscuridad. Y más allá. Crucemos el número en solo un trueno de horizontes. Seremos miles. Crecemos en número en solo un trueno de horizontes. Seremos miles. Más allá. A través de la gran oscuridad hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá. A través de la gran oscuridad. Y más allá.
Don't feel fucking to me. Don't feel fucking.